and podcasts all in one.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Just call me Swanny.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
Finally, Clemson Sports Talk has come back to Drive Time. Hello, everybody. Lawton Swan back in the saddle once again. It is the show that shakes the Southland. Clemson Sports Talk for you each and every afternoon as you make your way around the great state of South Carolina and beyond, listening to us on incredible radio stations like Fox Sports Radio, 1,400 millions around the world, on the iHeartRadio app. Subscribe to our website today. Just $63.17 to be a part of what we do. That's right, Gamecock Nation. I said it, 63-17. Coming up on the program, Tim Bourret. But first, out of the gates here in hour number one, our buddy Roddy Jones from SiriusXM and the ACC Network joins the program. Roddy, what's going on, man? Welcome in.
Of course, Lawton. Hope you're well, my man.
Man, doing good. I tell you what, better than the Clemson offense, which continues to struggle. And I know Clemson Tiger fans are frustrated by it. We kind of touched on it a week ago, but you know, Roddy, it just still continues. I mean, a 6-point victory this Saturday. They got fortunate that Boston College didn't find a way to put the ball in the end zone late. What do you see from this team that's been elite for so long, yet is continuing to struggle almost to the halfway point of the 2021 season?
You know, we kind of talked about it a little bit before, but I think number one, first and foremost, it's a confidence thing. And then number two, there may be a little frustration sinking in on the part of some of these guys. I mean, think about it. If you're one of these receivers and you're thinking, wow, I'm going to have a 1,200-yard year. I'm going to the NFL. I'm going to be a first-round draft pick, which there are examples of Clemson receivers doing just that. And then through 5 games, you know, you have the sort of offensive output that Clemson has. That's frustrating. I think DJ Uiagalelei is pressing. I mean, as much as I admire a guy for going and working after a game in the stadium, you know, going out and getting some extra passes and all that, it strikes me as someone who's feeling pressure, someone who feels like, all right, I got to go get better right now, or I'm going to lose time. I'm not going to get where I need to be. You know, a guy that feels good and confident about the plan and how much work he's getting doesn't do that. And I'm not criticizing him for doing that. Like, by all means, do it. But it does strike me as someone who is under a significant amount of pressure. So I think that's part of it too. But ultimately, I will say, in the first half, you did see a lot of positives, a lot of improvement from Clemson on offense.
Oh, look, I agree. I think there were some moments there, especially in the run game. I thought Phil Maffa, for a freshman, came on and looked as good as you could have expected. Then you had a couple of big runs early. The disappointing thing, I think, when I came out of it and kind of looked back at it, you know, it was like 53 minutes of football action that Clemson didn't score a touchdown. I mean, they scored in the opening frame, then they kicked 4 field goals the rest of the way and held on at the end. And that, to me, is just a continuing sign of what we've seen for the entire season. And that's where I think people have gotten so frustrated, because it is hard to imagine, Roddy, that it goes from being as good as it was to what it is. Is this just a byproduct of, hey, Trevor Lawrence, the number 1 overall pick, may have been carrying this team a lot more than people expected? Having a guy like Travis Etienne, another first-round draft pick in the NFL, may have been carrying this offense more than people expected over the past couple of seasons?
I think that probably oversimplifies it to some extent. Like, these things don't happen because of 2 guys leaving. It just doesn't. So I think it's a litany of things. Like, how much does Jeff Scott leaving a couple years ago hurt this Clemson team? It didn't seem to last year, but you had 2 guys that had played a lot of football in Cornell Powell and Amari Rodgers step up. Now you have guys that haven't played as much football trying to be the ones making plays, and you're relying on a guy that is a first-time assistant coach in his second year, and Tyler Grisham, kind of cultivating those guys. I'm not saying Tyler Grisham's a bad coach, but I was on a team that had an experienced coach leave. My position coach, Jeff Monken, left to go to Georgia Southern, and we had a GA take over that job, Lamar Owens. And it took a couple of years for us to have the same rapport to happen because he was feeling the pressure of it being his first job. And he had been a GA before. Like, he went from being LO to being Coach Owens, and that's different. So I think one of those dynamics, CJ Spiller coming in, and while he'll certainly have the respect, he's a first-time position coach. Tony Elliott moving to tight ends. How has all of that affected it? And you lose Trevor, and you lose Travis, and the offensive line hasn't been developed at a rate commiserate to an Alabama or a Georgia or an Ohio State or an Oklahoma. All of those things put together, I think, probably get you here. And then you have the confidence issue that Georgia made sure was going to be present for the early part of the season with the defensive performance that they had in week 1.
Hanging out with Roddy Jones. Again, he's on Twitter at Roddy Jones 20, Sirius XM, the ACC network. He does an incredible job. Not only hanging out with us, but also for ESPN, and it's incredible. Roddy, you're Ascension, man. I'm so proud of the work you've done, and it gets better and better each and every week. And I know with the COVID-19 issues, you guys have had some crazy kind of workarounds and things that you've had to do, but you've handled those in stride, man. So when we look at it, when it comes down to Clemson in 2021, can they turn it on? I mean, can they turn it on, or are we looking at this is the next 7 weeks of the regular season for the Tigers?
So to be honest with you, Lawton, if you get incremental improvement on this offense every week for the next 7 weeks, you'll end up with an average offense by the end of the year. Like, you're going to have a big jump for this offense to be above average or even good. So I don't know, to be honest with you. I think the first week out of the bye week will probably tell us what we're going to see the rest of the year. And that's not to say that you can't have a week where they explode for 30 to 40 points, which at this point would be an absolute explosion for this Clemson offense. But I think the consistency factor, like these offenses, you typically don't see offenses improve significantly in the back half of a year. Now, there are cases where it happens. You look at Oklahoma last year, and they got off to a pretty average start offensively. They lost a couple games early, and then they took off towards the end of the year, and nobody wanted to play them late. So could they have that type of deal? Absolutely. They absolutely could. But you'd be betting against what you typically see from a trend standpoint in college football.
It has been something to watch, I think, especially given how good Clemson has been in recent years for Tiger fans to sort of embrace it. And also now looking up, with the Wolfpack out in front and obviously Wake Forest, again, a ranked team in the top 25. I mean, from this standpoint, the ACC is getting a lot of heat because Clemson isn't who they've been and the league appears to be down. My thing is this: if you're a Clemson Tiger fan, you just got to keep rooting for Wake Forest, right? I mean, that's the deal. You just got to keep hoping Wake Forest wins every game.
I think you're doing two things. You're rooting against NC State. Like, you need NC State to lose a game down the stretch. You need NC State to lose a couple games down the stretch to get in. And you've got everything else in front of you. If Clemson Tiger fans are worried about making the college football playoff, like I would tell you, you're not going to. Like, it's not going to happen. And a 2-loss team has never done it. And a win over one top 25 team at the end of the year, unless Pitt sneaks in there, is not going to cut it. So don't even think about that. You need to think about winning the ACC, keeping that streak alive. And that starts with beating every single team on their schedule. And honestly, like, I kind of feel like Clemson is still the favorite because old habits die hard, and that's just what we do. But Clemson does have the capability from a defensive standpoint to keep themselves in every ball game. The question is, if the defense is put in a situation like it was a week ago, where you're put on the field with a chance to win the game, will they let the team drive down to the 11-yard line and count on the quarterback dropping a snap to win the football game? That's the major question, because I had all faith in Boston College that they were going to put the ball in the end zone. And they actually had the Trey Berry play to the corner of the end zone. He had Trey Berry. So I think overall, Clemson is still the favorite, but there is reason to worry for sure.
All right, Roddy, let's talk about another team in the ACC that's been pretty impressive this season, in my opinion, the Pitt Panthers. And, I I say it jokingly, but I do mean it. I love Pat Narduzzi. I think he's one of the smartest coaches in this league, but a defensive-minded guy whose offense is really clicking right now. What do you make of what's going on with Pitt? I know Clemson's playing them in just a few short weeks. It'll be on the calendar. I mean, what do you think about the job that they're doing this year?
I absolutely love it, and it's what happens when you have experience come back. It's what happens when you have a quarterback trust the information that he's getting from your program, from the coaches, and from the scouts, and he decides to come back. An offensive line improves from one year to the next, and skill position players grow up. Like defensively, they're not infallible. Like they have their issues at times, but they're going to make you beat them over the top. They're going to make you win one-on-one. They're going to put pressure on you. So I love the style of defense they play, because even if they don't have those players, the style still says that they're going to be a tough afternoon for any football team. And then offensively, I think they're going to be able to score on anybody. And like that's the thing, when you go through these games, can Clemson hold Pitt, who's averaging 52 points a game? Can they hold him to 30 points? That's the big question. The way Kenny Pickett's playing, the answer is no. Like it's just not. That offensive line has been good enough to give him time, and even when you get in the backfield, you can't tackle him. So right now, Pitt is as big a threat to ending Clemson's ACC championship hopes as anybody. They've got time to figure it out for Wake Forest, but Pitt's in a few weeks, so you got to figure it out pretty quick before you go up to Heinz Field.
Look, I'm with you 100%. And again, I just think the way they're playing right now, that you mentioned Clemson's confidence, Pitt is extremely confident right now. And what their offense has been doing, and I know you and Wes saw them a couple of weeks ago or last weekend. I mean,
yeah, last week.
It's really remarkable, just given the fact that was anybody that you were talking to going, hey, now look, I agree, Roddy. Some people were saying Pitt might threaten Clemson. That might be a challenge for Clemson. But did anybody forecast them to be what they've been so far this year offensively in the league?
I did not hear anybody doing it, but I will pat myself on the back a little bit and say I thought Pitt would be one of the top 3 offenses in the league this year. I did not think they would be like undeniably number 1 like they are right now, but I did think they would be top 3 because of Kenny Pickett, because of Jordan Addison, because of Lucas Kroll, because of Casey Mack. We had their spring game. Like I saw those weapons. I thought they'd be able to run the ball better, and they have. They don't have to be great running the football because of what Kenny does and what they could do in the pass game. But all in all, I had a pretty good feeling that this was going to be a really, really good offense coming into this year.
Now,
and hey man,
guys,
I've got to go. I'm about to go through security at the airport, man. So I got to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate it.
All right, safe travels, Roddy Jones from the airport there, hanging out with us here today. How wild is that, Roddy Jones getting on the bird, man? Got to take off. Got a football game to do coming up. I think he's on that Houston-Tulane game, so getting out of Dodge to take care of that. 803-450-0086. Appreciate Roddy for joining us and talking about all those things. As a matter of fact, we'll talk with Tim Bourret as well about some of those aspects, just the betwixt the ears deal with a guy like DJ Uiagalelei, who has all the tools. I mean, all the tools you could want. You saw them on display a year ago. Like, I can't imagine that what happened against Notre Dame was just happenstance, right? I mean, that had to be who that young man can be, but right now, clearly not being that. And you saw him go out there after the game, making those throws, just kind of trying to get his rhythm and get his wits about him, I guess you would say. And man, what this offense could be if he really gets going. And look, the wideouts have to help him out too. I mean, this is not just a DJ Uiagalelei problem. And I certainly appreciate Michael Felder making note of that as well for everybody during his breakdown. But man, to think what this team has been offensively and to where it is today, sheesh, hard to believe how far it has fallen. 803-450-0086. So if you're a fan of the show and you've been wondering, man, Swanny, where is the live camera? And yeah, we're running it, but we aren't running the live camera. I told you we're getting some updated equipment, but we got to get a delay put in as well. And just trying to pull that off it would be one thing, but just going to continue to do the show like this for a little while longer. So just stick with us. We're still here. We're still here for you. Still get your text messages. Still get a chance to be a part of what you do. Or you get a chance to be a part of what we do. One way or the other, I guess you would say. Again, 803-450-0086 text line, phone line. Taking a look here to see what some of y'all have been saying here to us on the show. And, it's incredible sometimes. I don't really look out to Twitter all that often because with the Twitter handle at Clemson Sports, dude, I get tagged in all kinds of just crazy stuff that's out there. I mean, arguments about Clemson and the team and the way they're playing versus Carolina. I mean, Mike Uva announces he's going to be a part of Gamecock Central, and somebody asked him something, and Mike goes on to say, yeah, I'll still be on with Clemson Sports. And the next thing I know, Clemson Sports is in everybody's mouth talking on social media. Driving me crazy, blowing up my phone. But it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun, for sure. By the way, yesterday was Trevor Lawrence's birthday. Big Trev, the Giant Killer, tweeted out, super appreciative of all the birthday wishes. Can't believe how blessed I am, mostly for all the people in my life. Thankful for another year. Excited to see what's in store. And we talked about his head coach, Urban Meyer, and the situation there a couple of days ago. My goodness. It is amazing to me how quickly that story turned from, and I don't mean the weekend for Urban Meyer, just Urban Meyer in the NFL, coaching at Jacksonville, and sort of the excitement around that, the excitement of Urban Meyer back coaching. And again, I told you a couple of days ago, yeah, there's a lot of baggage, that comes along with that, or with Urban Meyer, but there's also been great deals of success. 3 national championships, winning a lot of games. But then, boy, like the Daytona 500, where the guy's expected to at least be in the running at the end, puts that thing into the wall on the first turn, and you're like, what just happened? Some people maybe say, hey, you shouldn't be surprised. This has been the track record for Urban Meyer. Meyer came out yesterday and said he didn't consider resigning as the Jags coach after the incident occurred. I mean, it is one of the, you can't call it a great downfall yet because he's still employed and Jacksonville still got him there. But man, like I think to myself, would I be shocked if at some moment I walk into the studio and they go, "Bwah, bwah, bwah, Urban Meyer has been relieved of his duties"? Like at this point, no. And it's 4 games in to what I thought was going to be a promising career with one of the better young quarterbacks, or one of the young rising quarterbacks in the NFL under his tutelage for multiple seasons. Like that's the thing. Like this is, hey, Bob, we got the new executive coming in. He's going to be a part of our team. And now he's not. Like, it's like, what? What happened? And again, he is still there, but man, for how long? Or will it be the rest of this season? Will it be the rest of the contract? I don't know. I'll say this. For Urban Meyer, the best thing about his situation is that Trevor Lawrence is your quarterback. That you have a guy that, as a coach, you can actually look up to and model yourself after. And that was the thing some people were saying yesterday, was that, man, can you believe that Urban Meyer would drag Trevor Lawrence's his bachelor party into his conversation, when Lawrence's bachelor party, as far as we all know, went swimmingly, and Urban Meyer's little visit to the dance club next door, the little bar next door, did not. 803-450-0086. Again, it is the show that shakes the Southland, rolling along on a Thursday afternoon. It is Clemson Sports Talk. We'll hit a quick break. Coming up, hour 2. Don't forget, Tim Bourret, legendary Clemson SID, joins the program. And again, thank you to Roddy Jones for squeezing us in as he made his way into the airport and up to security. That's the fastest that we've ever had Roddy Jones get off the program in the history of him being a part of the show. We'll hit a break. Stay with us.
Now, Columbia's most dependable traffic, sponsored by Pope Davis Tire and Automotive, home of the best tire prices in Columbia, guaranteed. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Traffic lights are out this afternoon on Piney Grove Road at I-26. We also have an accident Broad River at Canterfield. If you're stuck, use the 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-2072. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp, and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today and call 800-575-2072. That's 800-575-2072. Or you can visit us online at TRA.com.
Let me tell you who I trust to protect my home and my family. Modern Exterminating. Hey, it's Lawton Swan, and when you need top quality service from a team that knows what bugs you, call Modern Exterminating. 765-2315. They're locally owned and offer a full complement of pest elimination services, including complete pest control, termite plans, moisture control, and more. Check out Modern Exterminating online at pestfreesc.com or give them a call today. 765-2315. Modern Exterminating. They know what bugs you.
Fall is here, and so are the Student-Meyer heating and air rebates. Flex your way to savings on a top-of-the-line Bryant Evolution Extreme with a 10-year parts and labor warranty and get a free air purification system, a $2,000 value. Get up to $500 direct rebate on Bryant Preferred Series gas packs and package heat pumps, or up to $2,000 off on split systems. Financing options available, including 12 months same as cash. Go to StudentMeyerHeating.com to flex your rebates and save money now. That's StudentMeyerHeating.com.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com.
Stay focused. Now that's a major key alert.
Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Chris Domine is a husband and a father. Chris is an athlete. Chris is even an Iron Man. But 10 years ago, Chris was facing a very different story because his kidneys were failing.
Basically, the doctor said, if you don't get a kidney transplant and if you don't do dialysis, you are going to die.
Fortunately, Chris received a second chance at life, made possible by an organ donor.
You know, your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
More than 100 million people in America are registered organ, eye, and tissue donors. People of every age and ethnicity, because they believe it's the right thing to do. Imagine what you could make possible by leaving behind the gift of life. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at ClemsonSportsTalk.com.
Always great to catch up with Roddy Jones. Don't forget, coming up in hour number 2, Tim Bourret joins the show. And it is a great weekend of college football. I mentioned this yesterday, just a great weekend. So many awesome games to check out and watch. And, you know, I think, too, as a fan, right, of the sport, You always appreciate a bye week as well, much like the coaching staff, because what are you going to be able to do this Saturday? Put your feet up, watch some college football, not have to stress out, maybe do some yard work. This is a good check off the honeydew list week if you have that as a part of your part of your chores before you get into the college football Saturday. Maybe you get up early, a little pre-game day, head out and take care of some things. I got the new pine straw down. It's looking good front and back. I'm digging the action. A game that we didn't talk about too much yesterday, but one that it's incredible. I don't want to say how the mighty have fallen, but to think about the fact that, and again, it's a matchup with top 20 teams, but Texas and Oklahoma, like this is a game that at one point in my life, probably, and for many of you who are young, you don't maybe recall this, when this was like a monumental matchup nationally 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I mean, during my time collegiately, and maybe some of that had to do with the fact that you didn't have the college football playoff, and maybe the college football playoff has I don't want to say extinguished, but has potentially put some dampers on some big marquee games, because at the end of the day, the way it's sort of set up now, one or both of the teams are probably eliminated. And it just, like in the old days, you could lose that game and you could win out, and then it came down to a vote. And if your opponent that beat you lost, then you might still win a national title. But now, dude, you get beaten a game, you lose 2 games like Clemson has. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is part of the reason I've been in favor of the larger playoff. And plus, I said a couple of days ago. I mean, when you look at Clemson scoring 19 points this past Saturday in a win, and you look at Tampa Bay score 19 points this past Sunday in a win, the way it feels is completely different. Like, you can have a start like Clemson has right now in the NFL at 3-2 and still be looking at your calendar year going, man, we got this. We can turn this on. We can make a run. We can get it going. The offense can get cooking. We get into the playoffs, and then bada boom, bada bing, here we are playing in the Super Bowl. But in college football, you don't have that luxury. And I don't know if that's been a part of it. I don't know if it's the fact that Texas has fallen off, but Texas and Oklahoma coming up Saturday on ABC at noon, to me, used to be like must-watch compelling television. And now these two teams both leaving, bolting for the SEC, that will be an interesting thing to keep your eyeballs on as well. Like, will the SEC chance rain down on the Cotton Bowl? This is something that I think when these two teams decided that they're going to pack their bags and head to the East and come join the SEC, this is probably part of the thing that the fans were like, ooh, well, intrigue, if you will. Again, Texas is 5-0. Excuse me, Oklahoma's 5-0. Texas is 4-1. Of course, Steve Sarkisian in his first season there, the former Alabama offensive coordinator. And then you got Lincoln Riley, who cannot keep his name off of the radar of going to the NFL. And again, continues to do a sharp job, a really good job there at Oklahoma. But they've been a little bit lackluster this season. Their fans booed them at home. Spencer Rattler still looking youthful to a degree, just has not been as dynamic as people would have hoped. Clemson fans, you can relate, given the comments we had earlier about DJ Rattler on the season, just 122 of 160 for 1,260 yards with 10 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. But again, this is a game, again, 11 o'clock kickoff Central Time, by the way, noon kickoff Eastern. For these two teams, when I was younger, I mean, this was one of the top tier matchups in all of college football. And it's expected to be a good ball game, by the way. Oklahoma's only favored by 3.5. The Sooners, of course, won their opener over Kansas State, 37-31, a 6-point win, then just a 3-point victory over West Virginia before surviving Nebraska 23-16. So in their Power 5 games, Oklahoma, much like Clemson, has just barely gotten by. 6 points, 3 points and 7 points, the margin of victory in those matchups. And again, Texas just trying to get back into that conversation of, hey, you know what? We're hook 'em horns. What was the saying? Who was it? Sam Ellinger? I can't remember. Who was the quarterback that came out a few years back and was like, we're back. And then, no, not yet. Not yet, Texas. But could this game at the Cotton Bowl, October the 9th, this Saturday, be an opportunity for hook 'em to finally go one up on the Oklahoma Sooners out in the Big 12, perhaps one of their final rodeos in the Big 12, as they will both, as I mentioned, be joining the SEC. And that's the other thing, too. Like, forget the fans there and how they feel about it. SEC fans, are you tuning into this game? Text me. Let me know. 803-450-0086. Like, does this game have more interest for you now than it has previously? Maybe over the past five years or so? I'll be honest with you. When I was growing up, this would have been one of those games, that was going to be on ABC. It was going to be national. It was probably going to be prime time. It was, Clemson football wasn't nearly what it is today. So, again, you weren't one of the teams competing for being at the top of the mark. It was these guys. It was Oklahoma and Texas that were competing to be at the top of the mark. And so I can remember tuning in and watching these matchups. And honest to goodness, when you look back on it, man, there were some games before the old Big 12 split, when they still had Texas A&M and Colorado and Missouri in that league. I'll tell you, that was a fun league to watch. And they had some dynamic and powerful college football programs. Don't believe me? Hit that reset button. Go check out Nebraska back in the day doing work in the Big 12. I mean, that was a powerful football conference. Now going to be a shell of itself as it tries to rebuild. We hit a quick break here. Coming up again on the show that shakes the Southland in hour number 2. Don't forget, legendary Clemson SID. We're going to back him up, though, not at the top of the hour, a little later than normal. We'll have Tim on about 20 minutes past the hour. Stay with us.
Help the planet with a tip from iHeartRadio Earth. Water heating can account for up to 25% of the energy consumed in your home. Save money and energy and improve the comfort of your home by turning down the temperature of your water heater from 140 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. It can save you up to 22% on your energy bill annually. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
There's a hot new podcast we think you'll like. Variety's Strictly Business. Hear candid conversations about business deals, strategy, and the future of media and entertainment from industry A-listers. Hosted by Variety business editor Cynthia Littleton and co-editor-in-chief Andrew Wallenstein. And once a month, executive editor of music Shirley Halperin will join the conversation to discuss the business of music. Listen to Strictly Business on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, I go to work, getting you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on. We have the experience and passion you need when you need it most.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 779-4000.
Now the forecast from the Red Shirt Guys Roofing. TheRedShirtGuys.com.
Tonight's lows upper 60s, tomorrow highs right around 80, and with it, lots of clouds with off and on showers. For Channel 25, ABC Columbia, I'm Chief Meteorologist John Farley.
This report is sponsored by Circle K. Sip and save at Circle K with their new drink subscription. Enjoy one coffee or fountain drink every day for only $5.99 a month. Sign up in store. Circle K. Take it easy.
Chances are there'll never be an emergency ever again. But just in case, let's talk about a plan.
Okay.
Who is going to grab the go bag?
What's a go bag? It is a bag we do not have that is filled with things we really, really need in an emergency. Guess we won't have to worry about it then.
Well, this is great. I am so glad that we don't have a plan.
Winging it is not an emergency plan.
Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You can help the Federation Center of the Blind continue its mission of opening more doors to blind South Carolinians. Please call 803-254-3777 or email nfbsc@sc.rr.com. Do it today.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Broadcasting from the TrueCar.com studios. This is Columbia's Fox Sports Radio 1400.
Clemson Sports Talk on a Thursday afternoon. Don't forget, coming up, Tim Bourret joins us. You know, I talk a lot here on the program about Trent Simpson. And I think that he's going to be not just a star at the collegiate level. I think he's going to be a next level guy, maybe even a first round talent. But another kid I love on the defensive side of the ball that I probably don't give enough credit to, and a kid that maybe I questioned a little bit early on in his career, not from the standpoint of talent, but just buy-in, is Andrew Booth Jr. But man alive, when you hear this kid, came out of Archer High School over in the state of Georgia, when you hear this kid talk and you hear the things that he has to say, I'm just so impressed, and I'm thankful, as a Clemson graduate, that Andrew Booth is becoming and has become the player that he has. But Brent Venables last week called him the best tackling corner in college football, and here's what Andrew Booth had to say about that.
Man, that's crazy. He doesn't give out too many compliments like that. So, man, it's, I don't know, it's just crazy, I guess. Yeah. I don't even know what to say because, like, I almost don't believe he said it. But
so there you go. Andrew said, I almost feel like he didn't say it. Now, Booth has been very impressive, and of course, he's a former 5-star kid out of the state of Georgia, as I mentioned. And he was asked, if he feels like he did in high school, if he's back to being healthy and feeling really good and playing great football.
yes, absolutely. The game's definitely slowed down. I've been finding a whole lot of joy just in it all. Like, I getting scored on and things like that, still finding joy in, in the game, just not being afraid to lose, like lose a rep or whatever, just being out there free and just full of joy. So, yeah, I definitely feel like the high school Andrew Booth is back.
So there's Andrew Booth again talking about being a Clemson Tiger and kind of feeling good about where he is right now as a player. And again, one of my favorite players on that Clemson Tiger defense, number 23 out there. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line, 803-450-0086. And he was also asked about, just the coaches showing trust in the defense by maybe going for it on fourth down at times offensively, just feeling like those guys behind him or those guys behind the offense, if they do turn it over, really have their backs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we pride ourselves on just doing our job, you know what I'm saying, and being there for the offense. So they want to go for it. If Coach Swanny wants to go for it on fourth down, so be it. We gonna rock. We gonna do our job. So that's all we worry about.
Now, one of the other things, too, a lot of people are always interested in is what does it look like for the team coming into a bye week? I mean, obviously, it's a different schedule for these guys. They'll get a couple of days off for rest, et cetera. And with a group that's been a little bit banged up, what are the priorities for this Clemson Tiger team in 2021?
Get heal up, get healthy, and get back, physically and mentally, like health. Like that's about it. Get back on track with that.
So again, Clemson trying to get back on track, and it's always good to hear from guys like Andrew Booth getting a chance to talk about all of those things as Clemson gets set for their matchup against Syracuse next weekend. He was also asked about his confidence and just the way he's played this season.
Yeah, so there were times where I was, playing not to lose, you know what I'm saying, rather than playing to win. So I definitely feel the difference now. And it's just such a free feeling out there. You know what I'm saying? It's a great feeling.
So that's an interesting point. Again, what he's saying there is, of course, just the way he's seeing the game. At one point, he was just worried about everything else that was going on, playing not to lose, not to make a mistake. And, when you do that, you can really struggle. And he was asked, so, what did that look like? And what's changed since?
You're in your own head, and just things that wouldn't usually happens. You know what I'm saying? And then you go to not trusting your athleticism and your abilities. So it's never a good thing.
Again, you got a guy like Andrew Booth there, who I think is going to eventually be a big-time cover corner in the NFL. Reminds me a lot of Mackenzie Alexander. Let me rephrase that. I don't know if he'll be a big-time corner in the NFL, but I think he will be a cornerback in the NFL. I think he'll be a big-time corner collegiately moving forward, as long as he sticks around and stays in Tigertown. One of the final things he was asked was about Xavier Thomas. And Xavier Thomas is a kid who showed so much promise, also a former 5-star prospect, but a year ago with COVID-19 and the battle with strep throat, man, just had a weird year and dedicated himself, re-upped. It went back all in, slimmed down, trimmed down, and is looking fantastic. And he was asked about, what it's meant to him and the team to see a guy like Xavier Thomas have a bounce back season.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I remember like last season, remember he wasn't all the way into it, but just seeing how he is now is really inspiring. Like, it makes me, you know what I'm saying, want to keep going hard in the game and just bring it each and every day. Like, I know he was down bad, but how he is now, it's great to see. So, I mean, he's a pivotal point to our defense and how he pass rushes. I mean, it's insane if you watch him coming off that edge. Like, it's crazy. He shouldn't be moving that fast, like being that big. So you see it, I see it. Yeah, it's crazy. So very thankful for him and how he's worked and how he's came back. So
Andrew Booth again talking about Xavier Thomas. 803-450-0086. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line. Again, the show that shakes the Southland rolling along here on a Thursday afternoon. I would give you some Xavier Thomas. I'd love to give you some Xavier Thomas, but man, the audio from that is rough. Why is it rough? You might say storms, man. Storms were blowing through, and XT's audio was not great on the provided feed. So I will not be playing any of that for you here on the show today, but we do have it up, or we'll have it up on our YouTube channel over on ClemsonSportsTalk.com as well. 803-450-0086. Again, thank you to my buddy Rob Sanders for the fantastic lead into the program. Don't forget, you can listen to him each and every day from 3 until 4 o'clock. It is The Rundown with Rob Sanders. We hit a break. We bounce back right after this.
The world is upside down and millions of Americans are out of work. Debt keeps rising, and yet taxes and interest rates are at historically low levels. What's going to happen next? Oh, I don't know. Space monkeys could arrive. Times like these, it is important to do your homework and be prepared, especially if you're near retirement. Hi, it's Glenn Beck. This is not the time to go it alone and hope for the best. I want you to call Pat Struby today and find out what he can do for you right now. Do what other families just like yours have done for over 20 years. Call the team at Preservation Specialists. Call 803-9-RETIRE and schedule a complimentary phone or video consultation. Pat Struby and his team at Preservation Specialists are local and independent. Their focus is you and your retirement. So call 803-9-RETIRE. Schedule a complimentary consultation and be prepared for your retirement years. 803-9-RETIRE.
Glenn Beck has been remunerated and is not a client. Investment advisory services offered through Kalos Capital Inc. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
By popular demand, Great Southern Homes now lists their coming soon communities online. Whether you're looking for a new home in your hometown, moving to a new town, or just want your pick of choice lots, this is the place to start. Great Southern Homes invites you to put the wow in your new home with options and upgrades. Live green, live smart in your new green smart home. Show your style and personalize your new home with options and upgrades from Great Southern Homes. Find your dream home today, greatsouthernhomes.com.
The new year can often bring big changes, some great and some unpleasant. If you're facing a divorce, consult the full-service legal team at Masella Law. Attorney Robert Masella has over 2 decades of experience fighting to protect his clients' assets and making sure that every detail of their divorce is handled carefully. Don't get overwhelmed by the legalities. Get in touch with Masella Law and get started towards your future.
748-9990. Give us a call or just log on MasellaLaw.com.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches, weakness, or discomfort in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 selling nerve care company. Nervive contains alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, and B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live your life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com.
Don't mind me, just sneaking out to go to Kohl's. The home deals right now, they're too good to pass up. Like up to 40% off Cuddle Dad's bedding, up to 50% off the cutest fall decor, and up to 25% off Ninja kitchen appliances. How can I resist? You can even get 15% off or 15, 20, or 30% off with a Kohl's card. So yeah, I'm going all in for fall, and I can't even wait. Select styles. Offers end October 17th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Killer hits, commercial free. That's Halloween radio on iHeartRadio. From Thriller to Ghostbusters, Nightmare on My Street to Monster Mash, and so many more. This spooky station is perfect for putting you in the Halloween spirit all month long.
Plus, our Halloween playlist has all the variety.
With even more bite. Just open the free iHeartRadio app and search Halloween.
It's all there.
Waiting for you. iHeartRadio, #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one app.
iHeartRadio.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Fox Sports Radio 1400. Online at foxsportsradio1400.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app and on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeartRadio station.
Clemson Sports Talk Thursday afternoon. Your boy Swanny in the house. Hope you are doing well. Again, it's one of the weird things about this time of the year, obviously, for Clemson Tiger fans is the fact that you got this bye week, and I love the fact that you get to sit down and watch games, as I mentioned earlier this week, but it kind of has a little void. And you know what? It's weird, though. It doesn't feel nearly as let me see if I can say this the right way. English, Swanny. The void doesn't feel nearly as big when you're not undefeated and in the college football playoff conversation right now, right? Like, it just doesn't feel that way. Like, at this point, you kind of look at it and go, well, we needed a break. We needed a day away. So, again, for Clemson Tiger fans, you'll have to find something else to do this weekend, and it's always strange when they're not playing. But for whatever reason, this year it doesn't feel nearly as bad as it has in the past. Just kind of need your respite, need your break, need a chance to catch your wind if you're the Clemson Tigers, because it truly has been a bit of a struggle. We talked about injuries just a few minutes ago, and I mentioned that I think Andrew Booth's one of the top corners in college football and will be moving forward. But one of the other top cornerbacks in the country, maybe the top corner, All-American cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. had a medical procedure done on his left foot. That news coming out yesterday. Stingley originally injured the foot in the summer, but was able to return and play for LSU in the first 3 games of the season, but re-injured it last month and has missed the past 2 ball games. Orgeron, head coach Ed Orgeron, said there's no timetable for Stingley's return. Well, Orgeron said you just have to look at it and play it by ear. He says one of those injuries that's nagging. He went to the doctor to have it taken care of. Again, Derek Stingley, one of the top players in the country. Of course, his father, you may famously recall, is the grandson of the late Darryl Stingley, who was hit by Jack Tatum and paralyzed professionally back in 1978, I think, something like that. So if you maybe you didn't know that connection, but that's his grandfather. I think ESPN ran a special on the Stingleys, maybe at the beginning of the year, maybe before. That may have been before the Clemson-Georgia game, I think. Perhaps I saw that little tidbit, and, I kind of knew the Stingley name, but maybe did not make the connection at the time, but certainly have now, and what an incredible story that is, because the fact that Derek Stingley has really become a incredible player that's going to end up playing in the NFL as well. His father also, I believe, played in the NFL, but this is one of those things, man, a third generation kind of guy. So you don't see that all too often in the NFL at this point. 803-450-0086, 803-450-0086. One of the things you rarely hear, sticking with some of the news, North Colorado assistant coach Max McCaffrey has been reprimanded after an errant clipboard toss hit a fan. McCaffrey, who is the oldest brother of the Carolina Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey, of course, his brother Ed McCaffrey. He also has a son. By the way, Ed McCaffrey, the head coach of Northern Colorado, but McCaffrey apparently inadvertently hit an opposing fan with a broken clipboard during Northern Colorado's 40-7 loss to Montana State last Saturday. And all I could think about was a year or two ago when Lane Kiffin threw that clipboard so high into the sky. And I thought, my gosh, what if that hit somebody? So again, not the biggest of news, but one of those things where when I read it, I was like, dude, could you imagine if Lane Kiffin, that toss of that clipboard, had actually gone into the crowd and hit somebody? And again, this said inadvertently. I mean, I don't know. Did he throw the? I haven't seen a clip of this. Did he throw it? Northern Colorado Athletic Director Darren Dunn said Max is embarrassed by the incident and is working privately to apologize to the fan he hit with the errant toss. After visiting with Max and the entire football staff, I am confident we will have no further engagement with fans of our opponents. Oh, man, that's a weird one. Go back, if you get a minute today, go back and throw in your Google machine. Throw in there Lane Kiffin and clipboard toss. It's got to be there. It's got to be there. And finally, one other note here in the bottom of hour number 1. Alabama linebacker Drew Sanders is expected to miss Saturday's matchup against Texas A&M after having surgery on his hand. Alabama head coach Nick Saban said Wednesday that Sanders is, quote, probably going to be out. It was maybe a little worse than they thought. in that he's going to be game to game here for a few weeks. So not only will the Tide be without Sanders, he's already filling in for Christopher Allen, who suffered a season-ending foot injury against Miami. That means that the Crimson Tide are down a couple of spots there at linebacker ahead of what was expected to be a huge, huge game against Texas A&M. Instead, the Aggies have now dropped a couple and don't appear to be a threat that maybe they were supposed to be, allegedly, when it pertains to the Alabama Crimson Tide. 803-450-0086. All right, so typically at the top of the hour, Tim Bourret joins us. We're going to bump Tim Bourret back just a little bit here. We're going to pick up with Tim at 6:20 in the p.m. So 6:20 p.m., Tim Bourret will be joining us. We'll hit a quick break, and we'll come back here on the show that shakes the Southland and dive into a couple of more topics on the program on a rainy Thursday afternoon. Not a muggy. Is it muggy and rainy? When is the mugginess going to get out of here? For crying out loud, mugginess. It's October. Help me out a little bit. I'm looking for Cool Breeze Louise. I don't need this muggy stuff all in my grill. No. Like I heard somebody say
Clemson
today.
Sports Talk with Lawton Swan
All this
on
humidity's
Columbia's
gonna
home for
mess up my
sports.
hair. I
Fox
thought,
Sports
me
Radio
too.
1400.
Me
Now,
too.
Columbia's most dependable
Said the
traffic,
BMOR,
sponsored by Pope Davis Tire and
bald man
Automotive,
on
home of the
radio.
best
We hit a
tire
quick break,
prices in
hour two
Columbia,
coming up
guaranteed.
right after this.
Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Traffic lights are out this afternoon on Piney Grove Road at I-26. We also have an accident Broad River at Canterfield. If you're stuck, use the 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by the Ad Council. Okay, dads, it's time to do the Cabbage Patch, the Running Man, or something more contemporary, the Floss. Dance like a dad. Learn more at fatherhood.gov. Sponsored by the Ad Council.
Calling all sports fans, iHeartRadio is the exclusive audio streaming partner of the National Women's Soccer League. For the first time ever, you can listen live to the biggest league games on NWSL Radio on the iHeartRadio app. The action kicks off Saturday, October 9th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern when Houston Dash takes on NC Courage. And then on Sunday, October 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern when OL Reign takes on Chicago Red Stars. To purchase tickets, visit nwslsoccer.com/tickets. Stream these games and get up-to-date highlights exclusively on NWSL Radio, only on iHeartRadio.
Guys, now there's no excuse. Peak Performance for Men has helped thousands of men overcome erectile dysfunction. The question is, what are you waiting for? Live the life you want today with a free consultation. No medication, no pumps, no needles, no pain, no surgery, and absolutely no downtime. Just non-invasive acoustic wave therapy that will have you back to your natural form. That's right. Now for a limited time, a free consultation. There is no risk. Fix it for good with one phone call. Call the Columbia office today at 803-302-8181 or find them at peakperformanceformen.com. Why wait? Enjoy your life to the fullest. Peak can make the difference. Call 803-302-8181 and get your free consultation now. That's 803-302-8181. Peak Performance for Men.
Hey guys, Lawton Swan here. I was hanging out in the backyard with my son Mason a couple of years ago, and he said, "Dad, you're the best father ever." When I asked him why, he said, "Because when I go outside to play, I don't get eaten up by the bugs anymore." Imagine that, me, a hero, when all I did was call my good buddy Trey Powell at Mosquito Joe. With their routine service plan, no more bugs and no more bites. Make yourself the family hero. Call Mosquito Joe today, 803-223-7916. That's 803-223-7916. Outside is fun again.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better. And kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor. Because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer. live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
The American Red Cross urgently needs blood and platelet donations and asks donors to schedule an appointment to give now. Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood. Your blood donation is critical and can help save lives. Please, schedule an appointment today. Download the Blood Donor app, visit redcrossblood.org, or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. You can make a difference.
WCOS Columbia, Fox Sports Radio 1400, an iHeart radio station available everywhere on our free iHeart Radio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan. Just call me Swanny.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's drive time right here on the show that shakes the Southland. Typically, Tim Bourret here. Nope. He's coming up in just a little bit. So earlier today, I happened to have a chance to be on with my buddy Mark Ryan on ESPN Upstate. Lots of people, get into Mark's business all the time with some of the things he puts out on social media. I tell you, it's funny to me, man, watching some people respond to him. But anyway, Mark sat by me in the press box up at Clemson a couple of years ago. And when I sat down, I literally said to him, I did not bring my bulletproof vest because I know how much he gets under people's skins, but I still enjoy being on his program. And he's a lot of fun to be by in the press box and enjoy my time being able to hang out with him at the ACC kickoff this past year as well. But Mark asked me a good question. He said, Swanny, who wins the Atlantic Coast Conference when it comes down to the ACC championship? And look, here's my thing. Like, it is incredibly difficult, nearly impossible, I would say, to make an honest assessment of the Coastal Division at this point. It's probably going to end up being Pittsburgh, but they face Clemson, and that might throw a little bit of a fly in the ointment at some point for them. Clemson right now, again, has not played well enough for anybody to believe that they're going to just run the table and that they won't get beat by Pitt, which would ultimately keep the Tigers out. And I think it would keep them out. And then you've got NC State and Wake Forest sort of sitting there with their opportunity in front of them. And so, who he said is most likely to win. And I said, look, I think at this point it's still NC State. And, I think that might surprise him because he said, no, I think it's Clemson. And it may very well be. But here's my thing on this. And I didn't want anybody to take this like all Swanny's bailed on the Tigers. But until NC State picks up a loss in conference, until the Wolfpack have a loss in league play, it is incredibly difficult to say you think it's going to be Clemson over NC State, because the Wolfpack have to lose twice. Now, if they were to fall, and they are off this Saturday, like Clemson, if they were to fall next Saturday at Boston College, and then have remaining games at Miami versus Louisville, at Florida State, at Wake Forest, versus Syracuse, and versus North Carolina, I would begin to entertain and open up the conversations about Clemson. But at this point, it's NC State's league to lose because they've already taken the crown from the king with a 27-21 double overtime victory over Clemson. As for the Demon Deacons, Wake Forest in their schedule, of course, they are undefeated overall, and they face off against Syracuse this weekend. The team Clemson plays next weekend, so it might be a good idea at 3:30 on ESPN on Saturday to tune in to see what the Deeks do against the Orange. Following that, Wake Forest will take on Army on the road in a game that doesn't matter against, as far as the league goes. Then they have Duke North Carolina on the road, NC State at home, at Clemson, and at Boston College. So again, if NC State loses a game, then yes, I will begin to entertain and say I think Clemson's the team that's going to perhaps win the ACC or at least play for it. But until they drop one, I just can't figure a way to justify it. And the one they drop, I think, has to come before November the 13th when they face off with Wake Forest. And that might be the positive for Clemson. I mean, if NC State takes their second loss on November the 13th to Wake Forest, then Clemson will know on November the 20th, as long as the Tigers continue to win, that a victory in that game would secure them the berth in the ACC championship. So that could be a de facto play-in game to the ACC championship on November the 20th against Wake Forest. But until that time, until NC State drops at least one, Clemson has yet to give you any reason to believe that they can still win the Atlantic Coast Conference. Or let me rephrase that they will win the Atlantic Coast Conference. Now, if the question is, should they win the Atlantic Coast Conference? Clemson probably should. They probably should not get beaten the rest of the way. And NC State probably should drop a couple of games because I don't think they're invincible. But at this point, I just got to look at what I've seen, and this NC State team has to lose at least one game before I begin to feel like, hey, they're going to lose two. And yeah, they've got a stretch where they could lose three. Who knows? But right now, I mean, it's truly NC State's division, at least, to lose. And I know that a lot of people won't like that, but listen, man, if Clemson had beaten NC State, this wouldn't be a part of the conversation today. It would be, how much are the tickets for the ACC championship game? I mean, at this point for Clemson in a lot of respects. So, again, I'm not saying that you're not going to win the league, Clemson. But right now, there is no reason to believe that your Clemson Tigers are going to be the team in the ACC championship as long as NC State's still 2 games up, essentially. They get to 1 game up. They get a loss in the league. I'll hear your calls. All right, Lane Kiffin, before kickoff of the Alabama game this past Saturday, he was asked a question, something, whatever it was, and then he said, "Y'all get your popcorn ready," and he threw the headset, and it was such an unbelievable moment. It was a Lane Kiffin moment, in all honesty. And of course, had you had your popcorn ready, it would have been stale. It would have been stale pretty quickly, as the Alabama Crimson Tide took care of business, 42-21, and honestly, the game really never felt that close. However, for Alabama fans, they did not miss an opportunity to send popcorn to Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Bags and bags of Skinny Pop, Orville Redenbacher. I mean, on and on and on. A bunch of different types of popcorn. Act, microwavable. Got the kind you put in the air popper. I would imagine you got the Jiffy Pop that you put on the stove, and I imagine he got a little bit of that. Lane Kiffin tweeted out, "Thank you to all the Alabama fans. Ole Miss football appreciates it. Remember, microwave in." Oh, goodness. How about that, man? Fans, you guys, listen, for the grief I give you when you do stuff that's completely stupid, and there are some of those out there. When you guys do something spectacular like this, I got to give you credit. Because There is no doubt that your creativity is on point. When you get your popcorn ready and you guys say, all right, here's what we're doing. We're mailing popcorn. We are mailing popcorn to Lane Kiffin. I love it. Also, earlier today, I retweeted a tweet, kind of staying with some things from last weekend since we don't have any Clemson football this weekend. By the way, tomorrow, Tommy Bowden and Clemson Tom join us. Did you happen to see Jordan McFadden on the little reverse play that Clemson ran early on? Maybe the first play of the game. Clemson ran a little inside pitch to Will Taylor. Go watch Jordan McFadden on that play. Big boy rumbling down the field. You know what he reminded me of? If you've never seen it, go find the video of William Perry chasing down, maybe it was an App State running back from behind. There was a video of William Perry back in 1980 running down a dude, and it looks so much like Jordan McFadden. Just the speed he had at that size, man. Unbelievable. Go watch it. We retweeted it. Again, we're at Clemson Sports. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line, anytime, any place, anywhere. And again, appreciate everybody being a part of the program as we rock and roll with you. Don't forget Tim Bourret. If you tuned in now to get up with Tim, don't stress. He's coming up here in just a few minutes. We'll catch up with Tim Bourret to talk not only about the Clemson Tigers, but to talk about college football in general. It is, again, a week where Clemson is off. Another great article out there, too. Man, we talked a little bit about the NFL yesterday, sort of switching gears back to the NFL for a minute. Great article by Joe Shad, formerly of ESPN, now of the Palm Beach Post, on Christian Wilkins, and Wilkins wreaking havoc like the Miami Dolphins had hoped. You know, I talked about the fact that Deshaun Watson and those guys, you know, you're not getting to see him this year, and Travis Etienne, and my frustration with that fact. But one of the things I didn't say, and I probably should have, and unfortunately for Christian Wilkins, I've only seen him play a couple of games. And, I don't know what happened with Miami, but when I was a kid, dude, they were the team that we had on. Like when I was growing up, you got the Atlanta Falcons on what was either CBS or Fox. And then on what was either NBC or CBS now, the AFC channels, I guess back then, we always got the Dolphins. Like, why are we, I don't feel like I get Dolphin games all that often anymore. And I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, I don't watch the AFC channel all that much anyway. I tend to watch the NFC channel because you get the Panthers or the Falcons more frequently. But Christian Wilkins now in his third season with the Dolphins has 23 tackles. He's first in tackles for loss with 4. Has a sack, 3 quarterback hits. Wilkins said it's just a combination of things, really. Film study, confidence, understanding the scheme, where you take your chances, where you can't. Said it's a multitude of things. Wilkins, again, making his name known in the NFL, much like he did at Clemson during his 4 years where he was a 2-time national champion. And again, a kid who for every bit of 6'4", 310 pounds he was on the gridiron, his heart was twice that size. I mean, his heart was immeasurable, his drive and his will to win. And I never will forget, after Clemson lost to Alabama in 2017, seeing him in that locker room after that 24-6 loss, lip quivering, tears pouring, thinking it might be his final game as a Clemson Tiger. But then for that group to return And, I don't know if ESPN's 30 for 30 or anybody will ever like dedicate an hour to Clemson's Power Rangers. But it might sure be worth a heck of a story to go ahead and get that thing on tape. Because those guys, Wilkins, Farrell, Lawrence, and Bryant, sounds like a law firm, really. The law offices of Wilkins, Farrell, Lawrence, and Bryant would like to let you know that they've got your back. They'll protect you if an injury does occur. That's the law offices of Wilkins, Farrell, Lawrence, and Bryant. But those dudes were just different, cut from a different cloth. And the thing that's a little bit disappointing, they didn't finish on the field together because of the Osterring deal with Dexter Lawrence and several other players, including Braden Galloway, getting caught up in that. There was never a conclusion to that. You never heard anything else about it. I'm glad it's gone. I thought it was honestly much to do about not much. I won't say nothing, but not much. I mean, that thing was made to a much bigger deal, probably because of the fact that Dexter Lawrence was a part of it. But, Clemson was still so dominant in those playoffs, even without Big Dex. Give credit to Albert Huggins. Huggy Bear out of Orangeburg, man, got the job done. But yeah, those dudes to come back after you had already won a national championship, to come back and do it again, to not just be satisfied with one title in your pocket, but let's go get two. I mean, that's huge. It's awesome. And, looking back at that group and just the impact they had on that entire season and the back end on the secondary, that's part of the problem with Clemson this year. I mean, as good as the defense has been, and the defensive line, I mean, even minus Tyler Davis and Brian Brzee, this group is just not forcing turnovers the way you have to, the way it's necessary. And, when you were pressuring a quarterback, when you were getting in his grill and wreaking havoc, you should expect turnovers, a misthrown football. I mean, you could go on and on and on about the things that could happen and have not happened for your Clemson Tigers. But that, I mean, to me, man, when we talk about this team at this point, given how good this defense is, they should be so much better as it pertains to turnovers and setting up. Like, we can talk about the offense and how bad it's been, but at some point, this defense has to do its part to create opportunities, to put the offense in an advantageous situation. And that, to me, is one of the underlying things or themes, maybe even, for this season for Clemson, is simply the fact that a defense as stout, a defense as talented. I mean, again, earlier in the show, we heard from Andrew Booth. The kid, I think, is just phenomenal. But yet, when you look at the turnover game and how it's worked out for Clemson this year, I mean, quite frankly, it just hasn't. It just has not been great for the Tigers. And you got South Carolina, who's forced something like 14 turnovers? Something like that this season? I mean, one of the best turnover margins in the country for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Number one, by the way, Iowa. Remember, Iowa and Penn State will face off this weekend. Iowa's plus 12 in turnover margin. And with a defense like, what Clemson's got, Guys, I'm not telling you they need to be top 10, but they ought to be on the first page, right? Clemson so far has forced 8 turnovers, 4 picks, but they have turned it over themselves 6 times. So they're just +2. And to me, when your offense is struggling the way Clemson's offense has struggled, you gotta set them up. You gotta get some picks. You gotta get the ball inside the 15 and allow this offense to get some cheap, easy points. But this defense really hadn't set them up. And when they have, like against Georgia, the offense has failed to produce. We hit a break. Tim Bourret joins us right after this.
Now, Columbia's most dependable traffic, sponsored by Pope Davis Tire and Automotive, home of the best tire prices in Columbia, guaranteed. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
A wreck on Broad River at I-20 will slow you down a little bit. Also, look out for an accident I-20 eastbound near the Minetta exit. The 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line number is 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Federal Employee Program. At the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Federal Employee Program, they cover more federal employees, retirees, and their families than any other health plan. Now it's time to see what they can do for you. Learn more about healthy benefits at fepblue.org/wecan.
Group training is a fun, accountable way to get in shape. I'm Coach Stewart of Dynamic Health and Fitness. Come train with one of our special groups today. We will focus on giving you the support you need to get in shape. We use the Dynamic Mob, featuring intervals of cardio, functional training, and strength training to change your lifestyle to make you healthy. Get started today at any of our locations in Lexington or West Columbia, or call 803-408-4060 or online at dynamichealthclub.com.
It's about time to crank up the old fireplace for warmth and for the holidays ahead. Tim's Gas Depot has an important message for those looking to install this year or for those that may be in need of service. Do not wait. Hurry. Like many industries, supply lines are thin and experienced help is hard to find. Because Tim's Gas Depot services units as well as selling and installing them, they can use a little help too. Call now. And if you know someone that would like a rewarding career, call them sooner. Tim's Gas Depot on the Irmo side of Broad River Road. Search for them online at timsgasdepot.com.
Are you in the market for a diamond but aren't sure what to get? For example, do you buy a mined diamond or are you thinking about lab grown? Hey, this is Scott with Traditions Fine Jewelers, and we want to help you decide because at Traditions, we carry a large selection of both mined and lab grown diamonds. A mined diamond is traditional. It was formed in the earth millions of years ago and was discovered and cut specifically for you. The idea of getting something discovered and cut just for you is so romantic, it can make the start of your forever together ring unforgettable. A lab-grown diamond is just what it says, a diamond grown in the laboratory that has all the same characteristics as a mined diamond. It's graded just like a mined diamond, and the FTC has even ruled that lab-grown diamonds should be called diamonds because that's what they are. What's great about lab is that you can get a much larger size lab-grown diamond for the same price of a mined diamond, and getting a larger stone is very attractive to many people. Traditions Fine Jewelers staff is ready to help you find the perfect diamond just for you, mined or lab-grown. Traditions Fine Jewelers, where the Midlands get engaged.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and Ad Council.
Families affected by disasters urgently need support. Help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to those affected by disasters, big and small. Donate to Red Cross Disaster Relief. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS.
Looking for South Carolina's favorite country? You'll find it at 97.5 WCOS.
back at it on a Thursday afternoon. Lawton Swan hanging out with you. Of course, hour number 2, you know it. The man, the myth, the legend, and the Clemson historian. I don't know, Tim. I'm not sure there's anybody that knows more about Clemson football and Clemson sports than you do. Tim Bourret joins the program. Tim, hope you're having a great week. Another tight matchup for Clemson. I mean, I know historically speaking, probably we've never seen. Have we ever had this tight of a opening slate where you have a 7-point loss in the season opener? Forget the game against SC State, but stay with Power 5 competition. You get the 6-point victory over Georgia Tech. You get the 6-point loss against NC State, and then a 6-point win against Boston College. I mean, just a crazy start to the season. Have we ever had one that was quite this close before that you recall?
Well, 2016, I think we had 8 games decided by a touchdown or less. Now, they all might not have been at the beginning of the season, although, we started with a 6-point win over Auburn, a 6-point win over Troy. We had that overtime win against NC State.
True.
We had the 6-point win over Louisville. That was early in the season. So the difference, obviously, is in 16, we won all of them but one. Remember, we lost 43-42 to Pittsburgh in a crazy game. It shows you how close you can be.
Yeah, look, I'm looking at them right now, just kind of the tight ones. You mentioned it, the Auburn game and the Troy game, back-to-back 6-point games. And then you had a 6-point game against Louisville, 7 points against NC State, 3 points against Florida State. But like you said, they were all dubs, and that might be where it feels so different. And perhaps for a lot of Clemson Tiger fans, even some of those victories were, Clemson was putting up big numbers, a 42-36 game against Louisville. The offense was scoring. I mean, these are like, if we were to just pull out the scores right now and don't put the date on them, and you ask somebody, what year do you think these games happened, Tim? They're going to probably tell us, it's probably like 1923. I mean, low scoring affair.
Well,
it's kind of crazy.
Maybe not that far back, but you look at the scores of the national championship season. There were a lot of low scoring games that year. I remember, obviously, we beat North Carolina 10-8. We beat NC State 17-7. We beat Tulane 12-5. We beat Georgia 13-3. So there were a lot of low scoring games in that season. We only gave up 8.8 points a game in 1981, which is the best scoring defense by a Clemson team since 1959.
And that includes 24 against Wake Forest in that 82-24 victory that probably skewed the results given everything else on that schedule. You can follow Tim on Twitter at Tim Bourret. So with that all out there in front of you, Tim, haven't seen this team this past Saturday, in the opening quarter, drive down, get a quick touchdown, kind of felt like what you'd seen over the past few seasons. Then you settle for 4 consecutive field goals. Obviously a big day for BT Potter, but still, I think some 53 minutes since Clemson's been in the end zone, which is kind of the catalyst of the success or lack thereof that we've seen offensively, just not being able to quite get into the end zone. It's got to be a little bit frustrating, not just for Dabo Swanny, but certainly Tony Elliott and the rest of that offensive coaching staff.
Yeah, I do think that, we made strides against Boston College, had a 400-yard game. Quite frankly, I didn't think we'd have a game this year in which we had 200 yards rushing and 200 yards passing in the same game. But we did do that. We converted some more on third down. I thought the offensive line was improved by taking Bockhorst and moving him out to guard. And I thought Rayburn did a good job at center. But yeah, you're right. 4 field goals instead of 4 touchdowns makes a huge bit of difference. And now, of course, I think strategy-wise, Dabo's going to play to that a little bit more. He's, the first, whatever it was, Georgia Tech, we went for it on 4th down instead of kicking a field goal, and we didn't make it, and it ended up close game. I think in general, we're going to be a team that probably kicks more field goals because we're going to, take the points because, a few points can make a difference in the game as we've seen. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of closer scores in the teens and the 20s as we go forward.
Legendary Clemson SID Tim Bourret hanging out with us here every Thursday afternoon as you make your way home, drive time. And Tim, I know it was a tough weekend for you, not in terms of Clemson, but Notre Dame and the Fighting Irish falling against Cincinnati. Watching that, this feels like maybe given Cincinnati's schedule. I mean, obviously they got a lot of work to do, but it feels like this might be the year, Tim. They're high enough right now. This could be the year where we see a group of 5 team make their way into the college football playoff. And part of that would be piggybacking off of this victory that Cincinnati had this past Saturday against Notre Dame.
Well, Lawton, usually the AP poll is pretty close to when the college football poll started. In fact, I'm working on a story for a future program, and a lot of people talk about the AP poll is that it's worthless now. You shouldn't even have it or don't it. But I disagree. It is an indicator of things. Over the last 2 years, 42 of the 44 teams that have been in the top 4 of the AP poll going into the Tuesday night rankings have been in the college football playoff poll. So it actually, is a good indicator of it. And so it's going to be interesting. Cincinnati is all the way up to number 5 now. If you look at BYU's schedule, they've got a chance to have a much more representative schedule at the end of the season. They're going to play 5 Pac-10 teams plus Baylor. So if they run the table, BYU will have 6 wins over Power 5 teams. Cincinnati would only have 2. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, Cincinnati's going to have to kill people, I think, the rest of the season, which they might do. But actually, I think if BYU runs the table, they're going to have a better chance by the end of getting into Cincinnati.
Legendary Clemson SID Tim Bourret hanging out with us here on a Thursday afternoon. Tell you what, Tim, let's hit a quick break. I want to come back and talk to you a little bit more about your thoughts on Cincinnati and how things may play out in the college football playoff. You're listening to Clemson Sports Talk on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Stay with us.
Are you thinking about refinancing your home to get cash out for college, a renovation, or to pay off debt? The last thing you want to do is pay thousands of dollars in unnecessary closing costs just to access the equity in your home. After all, you have plans for that money. Cap your closing costs with Cap Center, your local South Carolina lender.
We just helped a client who was a professional chef finance the remodeling of his dream kitchen. By avoiding typical closing costs, he had even more money to put towards the premium quality he had hoped for. So the cash out refinance has been a win-win-win for him. We were able to get his rate down. He's using the cash for something he is passionate about, and the money is actually going back into his home.
Cap your closing costs. Visit capcenter.com. Equal housing lender. Visit capcenter.com for rates, savings, and offer limitations. NMLS ID 67717. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It seems every time they have an issue, they ask, do you know a good plumber? Here's the answer. Yes. On-Call Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Like the name implies, they're on call, so they're there when you need them. And On-Call always sends a trained technician, not a trained salesperson. Locally owned and operated, online at OnCallSC.com.
On-Call Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Pick up the phone and we'll be right there. Call 781-HELP.
Hi, this is Dan Patrick, and here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Big weekend of football. Out of the SEC, second-ranked Georgia and their dominant defense take on number 18 Auburn. Then the biggest game of the day takes place in the Big Ten when the third-ranked Iowa Hawkeyes host the fourth-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. On Sunday in the NFL, it's a rematch of the AFC Championship game with Josh Allen and the Bills traveling to Kansas City to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. I'm Chris Collinsworth.
Groundbreaking runs in the family. Safety runs in the family. Extraordinary runs in the family. The 2021 Mercedes-Benz range of SUVs. Every member is waiting to impress. You can learn more at MBUSA.com.
You know the final score. Now listen to the NFL podcast that tells you why it happened. Premiering September 14th.
Do they have a skill or trait that is going to allow them to survive?
Dan Orlovsky, Scott Pioli, and me, Bob Wischusen, are tape heads who watch the tape and give fans the answers.
Regardless of what the hierarchy is, folks need to be servants to the head coach.
Listen to Tape Heads on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
Fox Sports Radio 1400. Serving Columbia at 1400. And the world on the iHeartRadio app.
Hanging out with you here on the Thursday afternoon, Tim Bourret on the guest line. Tim, we were talking about Cincinnati and some possible scenarios there with the AP poll earlier because, again, like you said, sort of that barometer has maybe been the AP poll. And if Cincinnati starts there, do they just kind of hold, just sort of in a holding pattern while all the movement happens around them? I think it's going to be fun to watch because there's just so much that's happened this year. It's been an unprecedented opening month for college football with the number of teams in the top 25 that have been losing and sort of the way that's all kind of unfolded in front of you. Every time you think about somebody, you find out you really don't. I mean, Oregon this past Saturday losing inexplicably in their matchup to Stanford, having a couple of penalties on that final drive and then lose or send it in overtime on an untimed play. I mean, that's just so rare. You just don't see that, and especially from a team that's ahead, right? Kind of losing their composure, if you will, and allowing something like that to unfold.
Yeah, you're 100% right about that Oregon Stanford game. But getting back to Cincinnati, as I said, I think they're 5 in the AP poll this week. This could be a year in which they. We might have the college football playoff. I think is going to look at their strength of schedule and hold that against them. So it's going to be, they have had the 2 wins over Indiana and Notre Dame, but those 2 teams lose some more games. By the time we have that November 1st first poll, maybe they won't be looked at as great wins. Cincinnati needs Notre Dame and Indiana to win some football games. And the other thing is, I think we're going to have a year in which we have a 2-loss team, get in the playoffs. Everybody makes a big deal out of it that we've never had a two-loss team in, but the history of this playoff only goes back to 2014. You only have to go back 7 years before that. The final poll before the bowls in 2007. Teams ranked 2 through 7 all had 2 losses. So if we'd had a football playoff in 2007, we would have had 3 2-loss teams in the playoff.
Well, this is shaping up to be that type of the year. I'll say that, and especially with you just kind of see some of the what we might call the early projected contenders for the playoff already having 1 loss with a lot of football left to be played. And obviously a couple of big matchups this Saturday. Number 2, Georgia's going on the road to the Plains to take on Auburn. I know that'll be one everybody will be watching. But you got that top 5 matchup in the Big Ten as well with Penn State and Iowa squared off. And I can't help but think, you look at Penn State and James Franklin, they kind of have the same pressure, I feel like, every year that Notre Dame has, Tim, because of the fan base wanting to see the success that they had the 80s, winning a title in 82 and 86. And, to me, there are certain programs out there that are just built on college football. Penn State's one of those. Iowa may be, but not nearly to the same degree for somebody like me, at least. It doesn't feel the same as Penn State. And that just adds pressure, in my opinion, to what the Nittany Lions have to do on the road this Saturday.
Yeah, I think the Nittany Lions have more pressure on them than Iowa on that, and the game's at Iowa. That is going to be a fascinating game. First time since 1962 there's been a regular season matchup of top 5 Big Ten teams that doesn't include Michigan or Ohio State.
Wow.
So big opportunity for both of those teams. Penn State, I think, has got a really good defense. And so it's going to be interesting to see that game. I like Iowa too. So that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, look, I'm all for watching that one to see how it unfolds. And again, from the Penn State perspective, I do. I mean, do you think I'm way off by saying I think their fan base feels a lot like Notre Dame fans about who their football team should be and what each season, kind of should deliver for them?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, they're very, very similar in that approach. They're both kind of in rural areas with big stadiums where, that's the main thing in the area is those two football programs. So you get to kind of have that type of attitude. So I can see that comparison.
One other game outside the ACC I do want to ask you about, and then I want to talk to you a little bit about a couple of the players that played this past Saturday for the first time, including Phil Maffa. But Alabama's taking on Texas A&M. A&M, Tim, at the beginning of the season, if you had polled most people, they would have said that's the main threat to the Crimson Tide. Obviously, A&M had a quarterback get injured at the beginning of the season, and that's kind of thrown things off kilter, and they've lost 2 straight games. I mean, any chance that game in Kyle Field, the hostile environment, the 12th man, can that game be close at all, or is this just going to be Alabama doing what Alabama's been doing to everybody for the past few years?
Well, what is it? The former assistants are now 0-24 against Nick Saban when they play him, and Jimbo, of course, fits that description. I mean, the last 2 games, Texas A&M's kind of struggled. But what you said is 100% right. This is a CBS 8 p.m. primetime game, and knowing how the TV schedules work, CBS had to pick an SEC game to put on in prime time. They had to get one shot. And that's the one they picked because they obviously thought Texas A&M was really on the improvement, finished 5th in the final playoff poll last year. But yeah, they've kind of been a disappointment. So I don't think so. I mean, I think Alabama's going to take care of business
I'm with you
very
100%.
easily.
It's I mean, if Alabama was going to show any signs of rust or adjustments to a new quarterback, I thought we would have seen it by now. But it's really just kind of going like it's going for Nick Saban there for quite some time. Again, legendary Clemson SID Tim Bourret joins the program each and every Thursday afternoon. Got him backed up just a little bit today, but that's all right. We're rocking and rolling along with it. We got another segment coming, the final segment of the show that shakes the Southland, and we'll have Tim Bourret on with us for that one when we get back here on Fox Sports Radio 1400 Midlands around the world. Get this on the iHeartRadio app, and you can listen to it not only on your Google Home device, but your Amazon Echo as well. We'll hit a quick break. We'll come back with more from Tim Bourret here on the show that shakes the Southland.
Hi, my name's Nicole Halbeck, and I wanted to ask you, how is your business currently reaching your target consumer? iHeartMedia reaches them every single day through radio, targeted digital, podcasts, and honestly, wherever else they consume their media. Utilize the #1 national media company with a local emphasis today. I would love to meet with you, learn more about your business, and share more about what iHeart can do. Email me at NicoleHalbeck@iHeartMedia.com. NicoleHallB as in boy, ICK at iHeartMedia.com.
Lawton Swan here. And I know in sports, we're always talking about the big guy. Well, let me tell you, when you're buying a car, you don't need that. What you need to do is head down to Orangeburg to my good friends at Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac. 4 generations of family-owned business right there at Ferry Chevrolet. No dock fees, no tricks, straightforward pricing in a low-pressure environment you'll love. Check them out online, ferrychevrolet.com, or call them 803-536-1600. It's Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac, just a short 30-minute drive off of exit 145A in Orangeburg.
iHeartRadio Earth is here with little tips for a healthier planet. Aggressive driving, such as speeding, rapid acceleration, and hard braking, can lower your highway fuel economy by up to 40% and cost you up to $1.27 more per gallon in gasoline. Save money and reduce your transportation emissions by avoiding aggressive driving. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
When a community grows, its hospital should grow too. And that's just what we're doing at Lexington Medical Center. We recently launched the largest hospital expansion project in South Carolina history. Our new 10-story patient tower will help us take better care of patients, including the tiniest infants who need special attention. It will also make room for the growing number of patients who need surgery and intensive care. At Lexington Medical Center, our mission to serve our community never wavers. We're here when you need us today, and we'll be there when you need us tomorrow.
Way back when, Colombia was a vast dining desert, a wasteland for fast, fresh, authentic Southwestern food. Weren't nothing bundled up nice and warm in a tortilla. Colombia needed Diablos. Southwestern the way you want it, the real deal, with no shortcuts in quality and served up as fast and fresh as you want it. Diablo Southwest Grill, Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. DiabloSouthwestGrill.com.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman-Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat & Place. Just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat & Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
Sharing has never meant as much as it does now. We share the things we love most in life for the world to see. But what if we could actually do more with our sharing than just collect likes? What if this sharing could be used to make a difference? Now there's a place where we can put all that sharing to good use. The National MS Society is asking people to make a difference and share what they love with someone else who loves it too. Whether it's surfing, dancing, or whatever is important to you, we've created a place that'll help you get your experience out to the world. If you have a story, share it. If you have a solution, share that too. Join us at wearestrongerthanms.org, because together we are stronger.
Fox Sports Radio 1400. Online at foxsportsradio1400.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app and on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeart radio station.
Hanging out with Tim Bourret, again, legendary Clemson SID. You can hear him each and every week on the call of the Clemson football games. And this past Saturday, Tim, I think most people, had they had their choice, would have preferred that Phil Maffa had been able to redshirt, maybe play in 4 games, and Will Shipley would be healthy. But instead, Phil Maffa gets out there and has some really good runs, looks the part. And I'll tell you, I think a lot of people were watching that young man run the football this past Saturday and saying, man, I can't believe we hadn't seen this guy already.
Yeah, of course he came in very highly recruited, and I guess Dabo figured, well, I got to pick one between he and Shipley, and I figured Shipley was probably a little bit ahead when it came to being a pass catcher. But yeah, Maffa played very well, at a nice spin move on that long run going towards the hill. So yeah, very optimistic. I don't know how he graded pass blocking wise, which is always a struggle for any true freshman when they get started. So, but in general, the running backs, played very well.
Yeah, Clemson, you mentioned it, over 200 yards rushing, 231 combined in the game. DJ giving you 50, and then Kobe Pace, who still feels like a new name because of all the snaps that Travis Etienne got during his career. Kobe goes for 125 and a touchdown. Again, you kind of look at this offense, and it feels like if DJ Uiagalelei is going to get more comfortable and settled in, it probably comes at the expense of this ground game sort of taking off to a degree. I mean, how did you feel kind of watching Kobe Pace? He did sort of having to take the reins over from Shipley for the first time.
Yeah, of course, he had 41 yards receiving and a nice 33-yard reception. So that gave him, 166 yards from scrimmage, and had over 200 yards all-purpose when you factor in the kickoff return. So, that was very good to see. I interviewed C.J. Spiller way back before the season ever started for a program article, and we were talking about who was, and at that time, Pace was going to be the starter and was the starter when the season started. So, I think CJ all around game, including pass blocking and everything, he liked where, he thought Pace would be the number one back, coming into the season. Obviously, Shipley kind of jumped in there before he, got hurt, but I think he's pleased with Pace, and that running game is so important. What Etienne did over his career, especially the last 3 years. I think his presence opened things up for the passing game. Plus, his threat as a receiver out on the wings, would open things up for the overall running game. So I think that was kind of a factor why we're so successful in that area too. And Pace to some extent showed that he can help out in that area last Saturday.
Tim, final thing for you here on Clemson. By the way, again, Tim Bourret hanging out with us on a Thursday afternoon. So you kind of mentioned how Travis Etienne maybe helped out with opening some things up for the offense. With DJ's situation right now and everything he's going through after the game, he goes out there and he's working on throws. I know that's commendable. Roddy Jones was on the program in hour one before you, and he said, seeing that makes him feel like DJ's feeling the pressure to be successful. And do you buy into the theory that part of what's happening right now, perhaps for DJ, is as much about just the mental side? I didn't think he was terrible in this game. I thought he may have played his best game, honestly. But there's still some things that don't seem to be quite right with him by comparison to the guy we saw in South Bend, Indiana last college football season. I mean, do you think he's feeling the weight of the fact that this offense isn't as successful as everybody projected? I mean, he was a guy at the beginning of the year, Tim. You know this. I mean, he was second on the betting odds for the Heisman Trophy. Yet, just 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions this season?
Yeah, you're right. I think, sure. I mean, he wants to do well. He's a guy that wants to, and that's why he went out and, worked on his passes that he struggled with in the game against Boston College. I'm one who thinks that, some years when you play these tough games to start, they're good, and sometimes they're not so good. And I really think that Georgia's defense was so good, it really sapped confidence from DJ and our offense in general. The other season I compare it to is when we opened 2008 against Alabama, and we were ranked 9th, and Alabama was ranked 24th. We had Spiller and Davis, and and Cullen Harper was the preseason ACC player of the year. And Alabama, we didn't get a touchdown in that game. We only scored 3 offensive points in that game. Remember, our only touchdown was on a CJ Spiller kickoff return. And I think that game just really caused the players in 2008 to on offense to doubt themselves. And I hate to say it, but I just have that same feeling that the Georgia game this year did that. And so you're seeing why a lot of coaches, God bless Dabo, he'll go out and he'll play these challenging games wherever. But I think that Georgia game sapped us of some confidence, and in particular DJ. So he's had a hard time getting that confidence back. He seems like he's kind of got happy feet relatively. You watch the Boston College and Notre Dame games last year. He seemed like he was in total command, wasn't nervous or whatever. And this year he seems like he's got some happy feet. He's a little bit indecisive. Why would you be indecisive? Because you don't have the
You're
confidence.
sacked 7 times in the opener, right?
Yeah, I got sacked 7 times in the opener. Although I must say, the offensive line has done pretty well since then. There haven't been that many sacks.
Yeah, I think just 2.
That,
I think just 2 since then.
I think just 2 since the opening game. So, but I think this open date comes at a good time, and hopefully they can get their confidence back against Syracuse, and then go from there.
Again, legendary Clemson SID Tim Bourret here on the program. Tim, always appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, hoping to play a little golf this weekend. Watch some football, including watching the Fighting Irish Saturday night. That should be a good game up in Virginia Tech.
Columbia's home
No
for
doubt
sports.
about it. Thank
Fox
you,
Sports
Tim.
Radio.
We got to get out of here until tomorrow. As always,
Now,
y'all take
Columbia's
care now.
most dependable
Hey,
traffic.
go Tires.
Sponsored by Pope Davis Tire and Automotive. Home of the best tire prices in Columbia. Guaranteed. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
A wreck on Broad River at I-20 will slow you down a little bit. Also, look out for an accident I-20 eastbound near the Minetta exit. The 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line number is 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer. Football, music festivals, finding the perfect costume. It's going to be an autumn to remember. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Radio advertising can connect your business with holiday shoppers wherever they go. Use iHeart Ad Builder to create an affordable custom radio ad right on your phone. Just click, listen, approve, then hear it on the radio. Create your customized ad today at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
Calling all sports fans, iHeartRadio is the exclusive audio streaming partner of the National Women's Soccer League. For the first time ever, you can listen live to the biggest league games on NWSL Radio on the iHeartRadio app. The action kicks off Saturday, October 9th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern when Houston Dash takes on NC Courage. And then on Sunday, October 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern when OL Reign takes on Chicago Red Stars. To purchase tickets, visit nwslsoccer.com/tickets. Stream these games and get up-to-date highlights exclusively on NWSL Radio, only on iHeartRadio.
Guys, now there's no excuse. Peak Performance for Men has helped thousands of men overcome erectile dysfunction. The question is, what are you waiting for? Live the life you want today with a free consultation. No medication, no pumps, no needles, no pain, no surgery, and absolutely no downtime. Just non-invasive acoustic wave therapy that will have you back to your natural form. That's right. Now for a limited time, a free consultation. There is no risk. Fix it for good with one phone call. Call the Columbia office today at 803-302-8181 or find them at peakperformanceformen.com. Why wait? Enjoy your life to the fullest. Peak can make the difference. Call 803-302-8181 and get your free consultation now. That's 803-302-8181. Peak Performance for Men.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You're bringing your daughter to a pop concert. Do you A, wear earplugs?
Isn't this fun, Dad?
I have a soft pretzel.
Or B, just roll with it?
Justin! OMG! I love you, Justin! I love you!
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Fox Sports Radio 1400, WCOS Columbia. Available everywhere you go with the iHeartRadio app. And now #1 for podcasting, an iHeartRadio station.
We are Fox Sports. And here's what you need to know.
Michael Brantley's 2 RBI single in the bottom of the 4th inning extended the Astros' lead on the White Sox to 5-0 as they head to the bottom of the 5th inning in Houston. It's game 1 of their American League Divisional Series, best of 5. You can see it right now on Fox Sports 1. Red Sox and Rays will play